Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am Shocari, coach for the Showtime Mr. Mimes, and we are back for Week 4 of the Dawn Draft League, hosted by Sierra Dawn and organized by her amazing team of mods. This week we are facing off against the Route 119 Treeckos, who have drafted Politoad, Kingdra, Rillaboom, Magnezone, Galarian Articuno, Goodra, Blaziken, Silvally, Alolan Raichu, Decidueye, and Treecko. From the past 3 weeks, we can see that they have brought Politoad, Kingdra, and Blaziken to every match, Galarian Articuno, Silvally, and Alolan Raichu to 2 matches, and Rillaboom, Magnezone, and Goodra to 1 match each, never opting to bring Decidueye or Treecko. Politoad and Kingdra form a very solid Rain core, so it makes a lot of sense that they would bring them to every game. Blaziken not so much, but I assume it's the value they place on Speed Boost as an ability, or maybe in its offensive fire and fighting typing. Articuno looks like it was used to prevent Trick Room, with Silvally offering good support by its ability to be any type, and Raichu is just solid with Fake Out and Nuzzle. I honestly would have expected Rillaboom to come out more with how powerful it is, and Magnezone and Goodra were likely for the specific opponents those separate weeks. That being said, the Rain Core still seems incredibly likely to come out, forcing me to use Tailwind or Sunny Day on Whimsicott in order to be able to match up against Swift Swim Kingdra. Rillaboom feels very solid here against a lot of my team, simply from its raw strength through Grassy Glide while also having access to Fake Out. Alolan Raichu can also disrupt with Fake Out, with the added bonus of having a 100% paralysis chance through Nuzzle. Galarian Articuno is fairly likely to come along, if only to discourage my own use of Trick Room. It's possible they could combine it with a Shadow Sneak from Decidueye to activate a weakness policy on Articuno, which could end up being very threatening. Magnezone is not a terrible pick here, forcing me to run specific coverage moves for it on several Pokemon if I want to have a chance against it outside of Dugtrio. Blaziken could be brought alongside something more threatening that I'm expected to focus on instead, allowing Blaziken to get a free speed boost and potentially start wreaking havoc. Silvally is quite a wild card, as I have no way of being able to predict what type it will be. As such, I'll just have to make sure everything I bring has a wide coverage of moves in order to account for it. Goodra can be a deceptively tanky or offensive choice, with stats well suited for either task. It could also potentially carry Sap Sipper to make grass moves ineffective, switching into a possible max overgrowth for free. Treecko just probably isn't coming at all. So, Whimsicott ends up being almost mandatory here, having to either Tailwind to outspeed Kingdra, or use Sunny Day to stop Politoad on the lead or switch so that Swift Swim can't be active. Charizard pairs very nicely here, outspeeding Kingdra either way, and should be able to KO with Max Wormwind. Manectric feels very important here, being able to redirect electric attacks from both Raichu and Magnezone, while also bolstering its special attack in the process. It also gets Flamethrower to deal with Magnezone and even Rillaboom, so that's a nice bonus. Duraludon also shouldn't be bad, being able to take neutral damage from Kingdra at worst, while dealing super effective damage in return. Magnezone would be a bit difficult of a matchup for it, but I have other Pokemon that can deal with it. Mienshau's Fake Out might be important, since it outpaces Rillaboom, although sadly it doesn't outspeed Raichu. Quick Guard can also work, negating both Fake Out and Grassy Glide from coming through, although that's pretty much it. However, just one turn of that may be enough. Dusclops and Hatterene actually don't feel bad here, as only Articuno prevents Trick Room. Hatterene has an amazing matchup into most of my opponent's team under Trick Room, being able to move first and have good coverage on everything, and especially if we give it Mystical Fire to deal with Magnezone. Alolan Dugtrio is decent against a few Pokemon here, but not great against the main threats. Not being great into the Rain Core and taking great damage from Rillaboom in the process has a big downside here. Snorlax really doesn't want to deal with anything here as well, and while it certainly can take a hit, my opponent has ways to make Snorlax feel irrelevant. Latios unfortunately doesn't want to match against Kingdra, as unlike Duraludon, it will be eating a super effective attack. And I don't think Latios actually KOs Dynamax Kingdra with a Max Wormwind either. Finally, Barraskewda just has nothing to really do against the majority of my opponent's options, so unless they feel like running a Barraskewda weak team, it's gonna have to be benched this week unfortunately. Alright, so after doing a metric ton of damage calculations, it turns out that a Max Wormwind from a Life Orb, solar-powered Charizard does not KO a Dynamaxed Kingdra with 0 defensive investment. Only a 25% chance of that happening. But it does turn out that Life Orb Duraludon will KO it. So we have that. Charizard is still great here to a majority of the team though, so if we can grab a win Game 1 with the Duraludon lead, we might be able to sneak by with Charizard in Game 2. Whimsicott has max special bulk this time around, since our opponent mostly has special threats. Light Screen helps tremendously in this regard, with fake tears to support all of our special attackers. Tailwind makes Duraludon speed tie with Timid Kingdra in the rain, but we win ties if they're modest. But either way we should be fine. Sunny Day pairs with Charizard and also turns off Swift Swim for Politoed leading or switching in. Charizard has Dragon Pulse purely for the Kingdra matchup, and if we can somehow catch Kingdra with the sun already up, Fake Tears will give us the KO. Duraludon should really only struggle with Magnezone, but that isn't a problem considering everything else we're bringing. Manectric here is very solid against Magnezone and Raichu, and should definitely save us from having to deal with Nuzzle from the latter. Flamethrower also gives it really good coverage against Magnezone and Rillaboom, while Snarl will help weaken their special-oriented threats. Hatterene and Dusclops finally make an appearance. Hatterene actually does pretty well into their team with a combination of Fairy and Fire coverage, while also being able to take some hits as well while Trick Room gets set up. Weakness Policy will be procced by Dusclops having Shadow Sneak, and then everything starts going downhill for our opponent from there. Confusion from Gmax Smite is not to be underestimated, putting pressure on whatever isn't being targeted. Dusclops can also use Shadow Sneak to break Focus Sash or Sturdy on the Magnezone, with Ally Switch to mess up the opponent and Helping Hand to make damage very, very nice. I've opted for Special Bulk on it as well, since the opponent has such numerous special threats, and I envision leading either Whimsicott and Duraludon, or Dusclops and Hatterene for any of the games. While Articuno can use Imprison to block our own Trick Room, I think I can get away with leading it on Game 2, where they won't be expecting it should I win Game 1 the way I am planning. Let's see if my preparation pays off as we go into Game 1 against the Route 119 Treeckos. Hey guys, Shocari here. I have to re-record the audio for this portion of the video because it is unfortunately very messed up. So, right here, I'm seeing their team. They have the Galarian, Articuno, Politoed, Kingdra, Blaziken, Magnezone, and Rillaboom. That's pretty much what I was expecting coming into this, except for the Blaziken. So I'm thinking, okay, I can still use my plan of Whimsicott, Duraludon, with Charizard and Manectric in the back as good cleanup crew. The Magnezone here, not really thrilled about it with Charizard, that's why Manectric's coming along. But I should be fine coming in against Kingdra Politoed. That's what we planned for. So as we get into the battle, I'm just thinking, what if they lead something else? But I honestly have no idea what else they could lead. I mean, Rillaboom makes sense, because, you know, Fake Out and all that good stuff, but then it's Articuno and Magnezone. Not expecting that at all. Really strange. So, I'm thinking, well, okay, well, I could Tailwind, but what if they Trick Room to make my Tailwind irrelevant? That is entirely possible. Do I switch in Charizard here? No, because they have Magnezone, but Magnezone wouldn't be targeting Duraludon with an electric attack. So I'm just very confused. They could Volt Switch into the Articuno to activate a weakness policy? That's entirely possible here. So just a Light Screen feels fine, and then a Thunderbolt. Maybe a Max Lightning. Nah, Thunderbolt into Articuno. We don't want to use our Dynamax just yet. We want to save that until we can see the Kingdra. Because the Kingdra is very threatening, and we don't want to go against Kingdra with anything less than a Dynamax Pokemon. So Light Screen to save us because they have two special attackers right here. And Freezing Glare, it's like, okay, that's interesting. But it's into Whimsicott, so that's pretty fine. We're actually pretty fine with that, because Whimsicott takes that like a champ with all the special bulk and the Light Screen. Thunderbolt actually does huge damage here. Probably would have KO'd if we used Max Lightning. But, you know, again, we want to save our Dynamax. We didn't know how the Articuno is built. We don't know how bulky it is, if there's any bulk at all. And Flash Cannon into Whimsicott, a lot of damage, even with the Light Screen and special bulk, so Magnezone is just honestly terrifying. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, well, Whimsicott's going to go down this turn. They're going to double up into Magnezone. So we'll just get our Tailwind up so we can match against the Swift Swim. I expected the Articuno to protect her, but it didn't, which is very interesting. I guess they were fine just sacrificing it here because it looked like I hadn't brought Trick Room at all, and that's pretty much all the Articuno's for, based on how I've seen from their previous weeks. Body Press here really throws me off. I didn't even know Magnezone got Body Press. That makes sense. And it does have a pretty good defense stat, so that's really good damage into my Duraludon, and I'm almost positive that that is specifically for the Duraludon, because that means Magnezone has a good way to deal damage to it, while I can't deal good damage to it in return. So now Politoed's out. I'm very tempted to Sunny Day and switch in Charizard. Very tempted. but I don't go for it. You can see, like, I'm so close to doing it, and maybe that is the right play to make, but in the moment, I'm thinking, no, this is not it. So I don't go for it. Instead, I decide to go for a fake Tears onto the Politoed and go for another Thunderbolt. Thinking, oh, I can just get a clean KO on Politoed. I know the Politoed has Helping Hand a lot, and they like to use Helping Hand to help the Kingdra. They also have Rain Dance, which they wouldn't expect to be using here because they don't know that I have Sunny Day. Although it might be safe for them to assume that, given how, if they've seen any of my past Whimsicott sets, they know I like to run Sunny Day on it. So we decided to Dynamax the Duraludon in here. Politoed could be tanky enough that a Thunderbolt plus Fake Tears doesn't KO, and if they decide to switch in, say, Kingdra, and keep the Magnezone out since I can't do anything to it, that seems like a fine idea, but they just protect with the Politoed. So, we don't get the Fake Tears off, but we do get decent damage onto it through the Protect, and we set up the Electric Terrain in case they have Hypnosis, which they haven't ran that yet, but you never know. Some of my opponents have definitely switched things up that I wasn't expecting previously, so I'm not ruling that out here as a possibility. So the Magnezone also appreciates the Electric Terrain going up, but right now that's not important. So it goes for the Flash Cannon and Whimsicott. That's totally fine. We're fine with that. Whimsicott has served its purpose here. We got Tailwind up. We got the Light Screen up. So we should be pretty safe against most of what they have. So we're sitting in Charizard here just to soften up the Magnezone. Kingdra's not out yet, and we're hoping we can kind of find something else to be a threat for the Kingdra. Like in the eyes of my opponent, like maybe they don't focus down the Duraludon that quickly. But again, like, this Duraludon just doesn't do anything to Magnezone, unfortunately. So I go to Max. I opt to Max out here just in case they decide to Body Press me again, because that seems very likely. Heat Wave just to do good damage to Magnezone regardless. I do believe they had the Air Balloon as well, so it's a good thing we didn't run Scorching Sands on Charizard, because that wouldn't have worked. I mean, obviously, at this point, I already saw that they have the Air Balloon. And it does 50% in the rain. That's pretty good, like, all things considered, onto the Magnezone. Politoed goes for a Scald, which surprisingly doesn't KO Charizard, even in rain. Very surprising. That Body Press was a little predicted there, but at this point, it's just like, well, okay, what now? So I go for Heat Wave, though, because if it did 50% to the Magnezone before, there's a good chance that we can do at least that much again and KO the Magnezone. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I can Max Lightning into the Politoed. And then I remember, oh, wait, they have Protect. They attacked last turn. Their Protect will go up. We're not KOing it. Well, maybe through the Electric Terrain it's going to do some bonus damage, and that's okay. But yeah, my opponent is just really considering their options here. I'm pretty sure they're deciding whether or not they should bring in Kingdra or not, or let Magnezone just get KO'd. They should have Protect on the Magnezone, though. Because, like, do you just let it be KO'd? Because once my Dynamax ends, like, it's over for Duraludon at this point. And they opt to Protect on the Politoed, which I realized far too late. I probably should have doubled up. No, I should have done a double up, because that wouldn't have done anything. Yeah, we go for the Heat Wave, and it does connect with the Magnezone, and it does do 50% damage again. So we were very lucky on that damage roll there. It's possible that we could have rolled too low, Magnezone lives. Thankfully, we got out with that. And, okay, we bring Politoed down to about close to a third HP. Our Ice Cream wears off, our Tailwind wears off, and now Kingdra has a couple turns of Swift Swim to just rain terror on me. Sorry for the bad pun. So yeah, I have Kingdra, Duraludon, Manectric. Okay, sorry. Charizard, Duraludon, Manectric here, and we are just like, okay, well, we can double Protect. That will waste one turn of Rain. And they have 3 turns of Dynamax. They're definitely Dynamaxing this turn. So we can get 1 turn of Dynamax down, 1 turn of the Rain, then they have 1 turn of Rain left. So at this point, I'm just hoping to stall out the Rain as much as I can, because once the Rain's out, I might have a chance. And they are Dynamaxing the Kingdra. So Kingdra just really gets to pick who is it going to KO, because it's absolutely KOing something here. With or without the Helping Hand from Politoed, I'm pretty sure. And at this point, I'm just wondering, is this Kingdra modest, or is it timid? I don't know. And that's something I would like to know going forward, because that really helps those guessing games in check, because we don't want to really play the guessing game with Tailwind Duraludon against the Kingdra. But, you know, as we stated earlier, it will not KO us, even if we do have a speed tie and it wins. It's not going to KO the Kingdra, or the Duraludon. So Duraludon's down, Charizard lives again this turn, and now it is time to bring out the Manectric. And this is the point where I'm thinking, oh man, if I had Discharge, that would be great. Oh wait, no, that would KO my Charizard. But the paralysis chance from Discharge would be really good. I probably actually should have put Thunder on it, actually, all things considered, since they are running Rain, so Thunder would have 100% accuracy. But then again, I'm running Sun, so that makes Thunder have less than great accuracy, and its accuracy already isn't good. So Thunderbolt was probably the more correct move here, although Rising Voltage, you could make an argument for that as well. We actually do pretty good damage to Kingdra. Kingdra is a very deceptively tanky Pokemon. It has base 85 HP and base 90 or 95 in every other stat. So even uninvested, it takes hits pretty well, because Water Dragon is such amazing defensive typing. You're weak only to Dragon and Fairy, and that means there's a lot of attacks that just do neutral damage on you when they really need super effective damage to make a noticeable dent. So now it is Manectric versus the world here, and yeah, at 1 HP, he's not making a comeback here. If he had Discharge, it's quite possible, because Discharge might do it at this range on Kingdra. It definitely should do it to Politoed. So at this point, yeah, it's over. He's not making a comeback. If he had full health, maybe. Just maybe, at full health, he could have done it. But he did not. So that is a loss there, game 1. But things are not too bad, because I definitely made a few mistakes there that I can easily rectify in the next game going forward. But my thought is, are they going to go for the same lead again? And I don't think that they will, because I think the Magnezone was absolutely the correct choice there for them. I don't think the Articuno was. So it's very likely that they lead something else instead, because you would assume that I would lead with what I think is my best shot going forward, which is the Whimsicott Duraludon. Well, they handled that very well. So all they really need to do is switch to the Articuno, because the Articuno didn't do much. And so let's say they bring in Politoed. Well, they could have Kingdra in the back, so they just switch the Kingdra in for something. They could have Blaziken, who can protect and get a free speed boost. They can have Rillaboom, who's just a monster. So what do I think it is they're going to lead? Well, if my lead did not work out for me, I need to switch something else. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm now thinking that maybe I could do Whimsicott Charizard. Maybe Whimsicott Charizard is a play. But no, actually it is Dusclops, Hatterene. We are going full on Trick Room for this. Trick Room is going to be our saving grace. I feel it in my bones. So, wondering who to bring in the back. Charizard seems, again, not bad here, because under Trick Room, we outspeed the Kingdra because Rain doubles its speed, but we're fine. So, and then Duraludon definitely will outspeed it under Trick Room. So Duraludon definitely feels like a safe bet here. I don't bring Whimsicott. I don't bring Manectric. I don't feel them doing too much in this game. They did decent work last game, but this game I feel like it has to be. We have to go Trick Room. We have to go as offensive as we can. That is our way going forward. So, what do they lead? Have they changed it up? Have they led Whimsicott, or not Whimsicott? Have they led Politoed Kingdra? Because I'm ready for Politoed Kingdra, but it's Articuno Blaziken. So, that's not what I like to see. Blaziken definitely could protect and get a free speed boost. That's not fun. I know the Articuno has Imprison, so I can't Trick Room, but I can attack. Because Blaziken's not attacking me. Articuno is not attacking me. So I can just knock out the Articuno right here. I'm tempted to hit Blaziken, but if it's protecting, I don't know. Articuno, yes. And I don't know if the Hatterene actually knocks out the Articuno without the weakness policy. So that's why I'm making this play. It's the safe play I can make, because I can get it off freely, no problem. And then I can confuse the Blaziken with the G-Max Smite. And hopefully that saves us. but I definitely can't get Trick Room off this turn because I don't know if I KO the Articuno without the weakness policy. So we Shadow Sneak, we activate our weakness policy, and I'm so glad to actually bring out the Hatterene and Dusclops here, because this is a duo that I was using in the Series 7 ladder near the end of the season, and I was enjoying it so much that's why I drafted it, was because I really wanted to pull it out here. So it goes for Bulk Up. I actually wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a Protect, but it's just the same, as it doesn't attack us, and that's what we really care about. So we do knock out the Articuno, which ends the Imprison. So now we can Trick Room freely because Articuno is no longer on the field. Blaziken confused, so if we get lucky and hits itself in Confusion, that's great. So what are they sending out now? If it's Magnezone, we have Max Flare. That's fine. If it's Kingdra, we got a Fairy move. It's good. If it's Politoed, we can one-shot it. At this point, we can literally one-shot anything they pull out. So I am absolutely thrilled at this moment. But we have to get Trick Room off first. That is the problem. And I can definitely see them doubling up into my Dusclops to prevent the Trick Room from going on. But I have to get it up anyway. So I decide to go for a Max Guard, just in case they decide to attack the Hatterene, because they might not view the Dusclops too much as a threat at this point. But I think with the Bulk Up, and if Blaziken were to say Dynamax, I think Blaziken could do a ton of damage. It has run Poison Jab before, which is why I'm Max Guarding, because I know it has that Poison Stab, or not Poison Stab, it has the Poison Super Effective move, which could KO me. I didn't run the calculations for Blaziken because I just wasn't expecting it to come along. And a Helping Hand, which makes me feel even more vindicated in using Max Guard here. And it actually ends up hitting itself Confusion. Thank you, Gmax. I said in the prep that the Confusion from that was going to be pretty clutch, and here it is being clutch. So we get the Trick Room up, and now this is exactly where I want them. They cannot reverse the Trick Room, and now they have to KO Hatterene before Hatterene can just KO all of them. Yeah, I was going to Shadow Sneak the Blaziken here, but I thought, well, maybe I can just Helping Hand. Like, Helping Hand's probably fine. Or I can Ally Switch just in case. And I go for the Mind Storm on the Blaziken, setting up Psychic Terrain for myself, so for when my Dynamax ends, I have Expanding Force. And yeah, at this point in time, I'm just calculating, well, what's actually stronger, Expanding Force under Psychic Terrain or Dazzling Gleam with a Helping Hand boost? And I actually just pulled up my calculator, and I'm just running calculations. It turns out the Expanding Force is significantly stronger. But I'm too busy seeing what's going on because I'm just like, I can't afford to lose this game right now. If I lose this game, I get 2-0'd and it's over. So we knock out the Blaziken, we knock out the Articuno. We are now 4v2. Not a bad spot to be in, but Kingdra is still really scary. Like, absolutely terrifying. And now our Dynamax is over, and it can Dynamax. And considering how powerful Solar Power Life Orb Charizard is, and that thing can't one-shot Kingdra, I'm just like, okay, well maybe I can't one-shot this Kingdra either, but I'm going for it anyway. I go for the Dazzling Gleam because that just feels like the better move, in all honesty. I had not finished my calculation on if Expanding Force was better or not. That's something I should have done beforehand, I know. But I'm going for the Dazzling Gleam. Making the call. It isn't do or die, because again, we are 4v2. So even if Hatterene does get knocked out here, we still have two other Pokemon that are still faster than the Kingdra under this Trick Room. So it's a very good spot to be in. And we get the Dazzling Gleam off, and it just absolutely one-shots the Kingdra, almost takes down the Politoed too. It looks like it's hanging on with 1 HP, which is insane. So if I had Expanding Force, I would have just got clean KO right there. It uses Berry. Yeah, so it goes for Scald. Again, it's not doing much. Hatterene with max health is very tanky. Surprisingly. But so we're just going into the Politoed here, just why not? Just go for the Shadow Sneak. But they go ahead and forfeit because, yeah, it's 4v1. Politoed's not getting out of that alive. So I'm pretty excited going into Game 3 here, because I'm like, okay, well, Trick Room worked out really well. So we know that the Articuno ended up not even being as terrifying as we thought against Trick Room, so it's probably the safest thing to bring right now. And I also calced specifically for leading Hatterene Dusclops into Kingdra Politoed. The Kingdra with Helping Hand, Rain Boosted Max Geyser with Life Orb, does not KO the Dusclops with the Special Bolt. It only has, I think, it has like a 6.3% chance of KOing the Dusclops there. That's great. Hatterene's protecting there regardless. It's definitely not KOing the Hatterene. I think it does like 25% of its health. So 100%, if it's Politoed Kingdra, Hatterene Dusclops is absolutely solid. It is perfectly fine. And if there was ever a time for them to lead Politoed Kingdra, it is right now, for them to just get immediate pressure on me that I have to answer. So what is it that they are bringing? We still haven't seen the Rillaboom, and I feel like the Rillaboom could be very good here. Priority Grassy Glide is extremely strong for anyone who has been playing any sort of ranked or competitive Pokemon since Grassy Surge or Rillaboom became legal. It is very annoying with just how powerful it is. So if they were going to bring the Rillaboom, this would be the time. But I know what I'm bringing. I've got a very solid plan. I feel very good about this. And yeah, this is just a very painful wait. Just going, okay, this is it. This is do or die. We are at the final game. Whoever wins this wins the match. And it's just, I'm very nervous. Very nervous going into this. And it goes down to the last second. They were definitely considering what to bring, what to deal with this. They're like, okay, how are we dealing with this Hatterene Dusclops? What are we doing? Because I don't know what kind of preparation my opponent has made, but it feels like their prep has been very good. Because like Body Press Magnezone, like that's insane. I never would have thought of that. I didn't even know Magnezone could learn it. But it is Magnezone Articuno. Once again, they are doing the run back game 1. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fine. I don't see them maxing anyone right here. And I'm thinking, okay, I can just kill the Articuno immediately, again, or kill the Magnezone. And I was like, wait. They're not going to imprison me this turn. Because they know I attacked the Articuno immediately last time, so they're thinking I'm going to do the same thing. So I can get the Trick Room off safely. I can just Trick Room, I protect, Magnezone's not maxing, so I'm not worried. So Trick Room goes up, and now the question is, we have to get rid of the Articuno, because it has Trick Room. I know it has Trick Room because it has Imprison. So it can just reverse my Trick Room, so we have to take care of that. And I have to pray that if Magnezone does max, the Steel Spike does not KO me. And again, I have to Shadow Sneak myself because I don't know if I KO the Articuno outright without it. That is a calc I need to make, a calc I did not have time to make. So we're Dynamaxing the Hatterene, putting all of our eggs into the Hatterene basket, and this is it. This is what we have prepped for. Kind of. We prepped for Hatterene to be a very potential carry for us in this series, and so far, it's done a fantastic job. It just needs to repeat its success for us to bring home the victory. And they are Dynamaxing, and I don't know who it is, and that makes me very nervous. Because if it's the Articuno, I really don't know if I KO it. If it's the Magnezone, oh god. And it is the Magnezone, it's like, okay, do we live a Steel Spike? I don't think we do. I don't think we live this Steel Spike. And then I remember, wait, we're using G-Max Smite. We can confuse it. It can hit itself in confusion. We have to get lucky. We have to. So we know the Articuno will faint from this. They were probably trying to reverse the Trick Room here, thinking I was going to focus the Magnezone instead. Which, that is an intelligent play to make. It does make sense. And I don't know if the Magnezone actually would KO me here or not. And by the absolute grace of the RNG gods, it hits itself in confusion. And that single thing potentially won us the game. That one confusion. And a lot of people like to think that Pokemon just really comes down to luck and the RNG being in your favor over being in the favor of your opponent. I have to go for a Helping Hand boosted Max Flare here because I don't know if in the rain it KOs. I don't even know if this KOs in the rain either, but I have to get rid of that Magnezone because Helping Hand boosted Max Steel Spike 100% is KOing me here. And it hits, and it actually KOs it, and I have the biggest sigh of relief. They have no more Dynamax, their Dynamax did not do anything, and we have a very big advantage here. So once again, we have them in a 4v2 scenario against Politoed Kingdra, but now the Kingdra does not have access to Dynamax. So it is looking good, but I don't want to get my hopes up because I am just absolutely terrified of this Kingdra, of this Politoed. The Politoed could have Perish Song even, and while that would actually lose them the game because these are their only 2 Pokemon left, it is still a possibility. And I'm just going for another Helping Hand G-Max Smite, because Kingdra is definitely protecting here. And we're not afraid of the Politoed. We are afraid of the Kingdra. And once that Kingdra is gone, I will have no more fear. There will be no more terror. So we go for it, and yeah, it actually just KOs it through the Protect. That is insane damage. That is absolutely crazy. Totally awesome. And the Politoed is confused on top of it. So Confusion has been our absolute saving grace these past 2 games. Thank you, Hatterene. You are an absolute hero. I love you. And the Politoed uses Rain Dance to get rid of the Max Flare, which I forgot was even up at the time. So it makes sense they would go for that, but Trick Room is still up. So you're actually making Kingdra even slower. And yeah, Trick Room will be over in like a couple turns, but that's a couple turns of rain wasted. Although that does help your damage out, so just gonna go for a Helping Hand boosted Dazzling Gleam because I didn't get the Psychic Drain up this turn, so Expanding Force is not an option. But +2 Hatterene is nothing to scoff at. This thing is very strong. I was using it specifically to counter Galarian Moltres. It actually one-shots, I believe, max HP Dynamax Galarian Moltres at +2 with the G-Max Smite, so we come out 2-1, looking great. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. I will be uploading more of this in the future, uploading these episodes every week. Subscribe so you can see my content, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.